the more dolls that sell, the more they are able to charge for them, because it's like, oh, there's a higher demand for it, whatever. So don't go buy the doll, because I want to buy it. She's like digging in the bushes back there. Hey everybody, welcome back to part 2 of my Grail doll list. I know, it's a really long list. Like, usually a Grail doll is like the one that you want over everything else. But I was going through and I realized, like, over the years there have been several different dolls that I really wanted to get, and it's no longer a wish list at this point. Like, I've narrowed it down. Like, there are certain ones that are just, they're harder to get. Like, a lot of the ones that I would consider more like wish list dolls are ones that are easier to get, readily available, like at normal price, or like not super expensive. And after I made that last video, I realized that there were actually some more dolls that I had forgot to add to that list. And then when I started like making a second list, I found more that I remembered. And really at this point, it's like, it really should just be called like my wish list, but I'm gonna stick with the Grail doll thing because it kind of still fits in the category of either like hard to find or really expensive, which is why I don't have it, or both. So we're gonna stick with that. Also, obviously, I am outside. I just wanted to switch it up. I wanted to do something different. This is really nice if I can do stuff like this where I can find good enough lighting to where like you can see me. Especially, I'm not reviewing anything. I don't have to show anything to you, but if I can find decent enough lighting, I can film in other locations just to mix it up. And I don't have to like lug out all of my like supplies and my lights and all that stuff. I can literally just put the camera here. It's already on its tripod, hit record and go. So that's what I'm doing today. I love this weather. This is like my favorite weather. It's completely overcast. It was raining last night. It rained this morning, and then it's just been kind of off and on sprinkling. It's not real heavy rain. It's not windy. This is my favorite weather. But because it's like perfect weather, I was like, I want to sit outside. It's a beautiful day, in my opinion. And I've wanted to let Sierra outside. Hey, Sierra. Hey, want to say hi to everybody? Say hi. Look at the camera. Say hi. Not me, the camera. She doesn't understand. Anyway, so just like before, I'm gonna mention the dolls on my list, and I'm gonna put up a picture right here so that way you can see, like as a reference, what it is I'm talking about. Now, some of these are not in order. Actually, I don't really have an order from like least wanted to most wanted or whatever. I kind of did that last time. And in fact, if you want to see what my #1 Grail doll is, I did mention that in my last video. So I will link that up in the top corner, and it'll probably pop up on the screen at the end of this video as one of the recommended videos if you want to check that video out after this one. But anyway, this is a whole brand new list. It's not as long of a list as the previous one, but let's just go ahead and get started. So for this list, I have it split into 4 separate categories. Well, it's not categories, it's 4 different doll lines, and I have a handful of dolls from each doll line that I'm gonna mention, but I'm not gonna spend as much time talking about them. I'm just gonna like mention it and say why I like it. All right, so just like last time, I'm gonna start off with Barbie, because I think Barbie is probably, you know, the most iconic doll. So the first doll that I have on this list is the Toy Story 3 Barbies. Now, I really like all of the Disney tie-in Barbies, like Disney Fun Barbie, like the ones where she's going to Disneyland. I really like all of the Disney Princess dolls and stuff like that, but I think my favorite ones are when it's Barbie, but like wearing Disney clothing or something like that. Those are my favorite. And the Toy Story Barbies are really expensive, so that's the only reason I don't own them. But specifically the ones from Toy Story 3, Barbie went in hard. Like, you know, she had like, there's one that's like dressed up like as a fan of Buzz Lightyear. There's one that's dressed up as a fan of Woody. They have a few different ones that came out during this time, and it reminds me of the Disney Illy dolls, where they are like dolls inspired by a character, it's kind of like that because it's still technically Barbie, but she's wearing clothing based around these characters. Next up on the list is the Sanrio Melody Barbie. Now, I'm not a huge Sanrio fan. I don't really collect Hello Kitty or anything like this, but this particular doll is adorable. She's got pigtails. I love her color scheme. She is adorable. I know nothing about Melody. I know nothing about Sanrio. I know Hello Kitty exists. Oh, and Keroppi. I like Keroppi because Keroppi's a frog. But like I said, I don't collect Sanrio stuff. Although, you know, I really like that vibe of like, I don't know, walking into a Daiso and seeing all, we just started getting Daiso stores in my area and I love going into those stores. But this Barbie kind of reminds me of that, and I just really, it's just like a cuteness factor at this point. I just like the aesthetic, that the way that this particular doll was designed. Plus she's a brunette, and you know how I feel about brunette dolls. Speaking of brunette dolls, the next one on my list is actually a Star Wars Barbie, specifically the Star Wars Rey Barbie. They have multiple characters, like they've done Darth Vader, C-3PO, R2-D2. I wouldn't mind getting the R2-D2 one. I think that one's really cute. There's also a Princess Leia one, but I really like the way that the Rey doll looks. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I enjoy it. I really love the rides at Disneyland, both in Galaxy's Edge and also in Tomorrowland with Star Tours. So I don't necessarily want this doll purely because it is Star Wars and I collect Star Wars stuff, because I actually don't own anything Star Wars other than the movies. I just really like the way that this doll looks. Also, I think in Star Wars, I really like Rey as a character. I don't know, I really like her. But this doll is really pretty. And I just really like the way they decided to outfit her and do her hair and stuff, because like it's inspired by Rey. It's not an exact copy of what she looked like in the movie. The next two are collector Barbies as well. So we've got King of the Crystal Caves Ken. This doll looks really cool. I love medieval stuff, you know, like, you know, knights in shining armor, castles, dragons. I love that stuff. So like naturally I like this Ken doll. Plus I think he's really handsome, and I know that he's really expensive, so he's also another one that I don't think I'll ever own, but I do like him. But I also really want to get the next one on my list, which is the King Oceans Ken. Now I know that there was like a controversy when this one came out, because I think it was one of the fan vote ones, if I remember correctly, and like people like voted on stuff, and in fact I think it was like between a Barbie and a Ken, and people actually voted for the Ken. But I think the controversy came when people saw the concept art and then the final product. I don't remember exactly what it was. I think it's just like people were disappointed that it didn't look like the concept art, or maybe they had lightened his skin a little bit. I think the concept art was a little darker skinned, but I'm really not sure what happened there. The thing with this Barbie is you had to be part of Mattel's like special club that you have to pay monthly for or whatever, or pay annually for, or whatever it is. I'm not part of that club, so I never had a chance to buy this doll, but I have seen other people get it. I've looked at pictures. I'm obsessed. I love mermaids, and this is a merman. He's made to move, and he is extremely handsome. Like, he is one of the better looking Ken dolls that I've seen, and I love when guys have long hair. I love the way it looks, and the fact that he has long hair, I love that. Plus I love the material they used for like his tail and his accessories. I like the colors. It looks really cool. Moving on, let's talk about Disney dolls. So I only have 3 this time, but specifically for Disney dolls, I want to get a Disney Enchanted Giselle doll. Like, that's one character that I do not own a doll for, and also one of the prettiest dolls in my opinion. I don't want necessarily the live action Amy Adams looking doll. What I want is I want one of the ones that looks like the animated version of Giselle. I would love to own the wedding dress one that came out at D23 this past year. I would love to own that, but she is already in the thousands for dollars price. Like, no, I'm not gonna buy that. Like, there's no way I will own that unless if I get a like extremely wealthy sugar daddy. Like, there's no way. Anyway, yeah, I would love to have that, but I'm not going to. I want to have one of the Playline ones, like specifically in her pink dress when she has like her really long hair. Like, she is so beautiful. I don't know if I'm going to end up owning one, just because they're a little pricey on the secondhand market, especially since the second movie came out. So what I might end up doing is customizing a doll to make my own version of it, but even then I might just see if I can get one that's like doesn't have any of her clothing or whatever, and then try my hand at sewing her dress. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do just yet, but I really want a Giselle doll. The next two are also limited edition Disney dolls. So the next one is actually Belle from Beauty and the Beast, but in her blue dress. So a few years ago, the Disney Store put out this limited edition set of like the heroes and villains or whatever. I actually own one from that set, and it's Alice and the Queen of Hearts, and I love that doll set. That's one of my favorites. That's back when they were still doing like the square acrylic boxes for the limited edition dolls. One of the sets that you could have gotten was Belle and Gaston, and Belle is in her blue dress, her peasant dress, and I love that dress. I do like her yellow dress, her golden, whatever you want to call it, her ball gown. I love that. But I really want to get a Belle doll in her blue dress because it's less common. You never see it. It's not as easy to find, and the way that they did it, I think, is beautiful. That whole collection is really, really good. Like that Alice doll is probably one of my favorite dolls in my collection, mainly because it's Alice, but also because of just the way it's done. Now, in my last Grail doll video, I did mention that there are two limited edition Ariel dolls that I would love to own in my collection. One was the mermaid one, and one was her in her pink gown. But there is also another one that I really, really want, and it is also Ariel in her blue dress. Now, a couple years ago, the Disney Store started a series that's like their holiday Christmas doll series that they put out each year. And each year on Christmas Day, I've been opening those dolls and reviewing them. And the first one was Ariel, and she was in a Christmas version of her blue dress, and I love that doll. But this limited edition doll is more like directly from the movie, like inspired from that dress, but just like elevated, and I love it. I don't remember if that was part of a 2-pack with Eric or not, but I definitely want that doll once again because we never really see Ariel in her blue dress, and I think it'd be great to get a limited edition doll with her wearing that blue dress. All right, next up, let's talk about My Little Pony. I think in my last Grail doll video, I only had one My Little Pony listed, and that was like my #1 Grail pony of all, which was Mimic. But as I was going through like the My Little Pony like that I want and that I have, I realized that there are a few more that I would consider at a Grail status, partially because they're harder to find or more expensive, but partially just because I want them more than the rest. So some of these are from G1, and actually some of them are from G2 of My Little Pony. All right, so My Little Pony G1, Twice as Fancy Dancing Butterflies. Now this pony is actually not very hard to find. And in fact, I don't even think she's that expensive. I just haven't gotten her yet, but I see her everywhere, and when I do go to try and get her, she's not really listed anywhere on eBay. And then when I'm not on the market to buy ponies, I see her everywhere. Anyway, she's been eluding me, and I think she is gorgeous. I love the Twice as Fancy ponies, and I really want this particular one. She keeps eluding me. We have like this weird tango going on where like when I do find her, she's either in really bad condition or too expensive, and then when I'm like not looking for, or you know, like when I do find her at a decent price, I just don't have the money at that time or something. But yeah, I do want Dancing Butterflies. Next up, I think this is even like more so, like I really, really want these. It's the G1 Sea Ponies. Now in My Little Pony G5, they did do a version of Sea Ponies, but they were more like Hippocampus, where they had like a fishtail, like they were mermaid ponies. They had a fishtail and then they still had their front hooves. This is not like that. The Sea Ponies from G1 are actually like seahorses, but in pony form. Now I've mentioned before that my favorite animal is a seahorse, so it's no surprise that I'm gonna like these particular ponies, being that I'm a huge fan of My Little Pony to begin with. Oh, she was just, I wish that I could have like got that in the frame. Sierra was like stalking that bird and then tried to go for it, but it's too fast for her. But I remember having one of the My Little Pony Sea Ponies back when I was a kid and loving it, and then I don't know what happened to it. Once again, like a lot of the stuff from my childhood, I have no idea what happened to it. But anyway, at some point I didn't have it. I have since then gotten another Sea Pony. In fact, I think I have two of them. I have the pink one with the blue hair, and I have the blue one with the purple hair. But there are a few more that I really want, and the other ones that I don't have, of course, are the ones that are really expensive. So those are the only ones that I don't have. I have the ones that are like easier to find already. Another other thing I really want from My Little Pony G1 are the Windy Wings and the Summer Wings. Now, I have one already, and I don't know if it's Summer Wings or Windy Wings. It might be a Summer Wings one. But anyway, it's this one. It's the teal one with the yellow hair, and she's got like a little honeybee for her cutie mark. So I have this one, but she's the only one I have. And I love this line. This is another one that I had when I was a kid. Don't know what happened to it, but I remember these were some of my favorite ones. I always thought that these were the Flutter Ponies because I remember the Flutter Ponies in the cartoon, but I never actually had any of the actual Flutter Pony toys. So I thought these were Flutter Ponies until I became an adult collector and found out, no, these are the Windy Wings and Summer Wings dolls, but I'm obsessed with them. They're little, they're tiny, they're kind of like the size of baby ponies, but they have butterfly wings and they're gorgeous. Moving on to G2 for My Little Pony, I have Princess Firefly. Princess Firefly, the main reason I want her is just because of her coloration. I mean, like, look at her. How many ponies do you know that have these colors? Like, she's so bright and vibrant. I love it. And then for the same reason, I also want to get Princess Crystal. Just her coloration is so pretty. Also from G2, I really want to get Silver Glow because I feel like in G2 for My Little Pony, they did very, very few unicorns, but I love the way the unicorns look for G2, and I've never seen them in person. Like, I feel like they were only released in the UK, maybe? I don't know. That's probably not. They might have been released here, but I've never seen them in person. So I would really like to get some of the unicorns, specifically Silver Glow, and then the other one is Silver Swirl. I do like both of those, but I really like those particular ponies, and those are the ones that are just really hard to find. And G2 ponies are surprisingly expensive. Like, they weren't even as popular. I think they're just not many of them made, so they're harder to find, which makes them more expensive. All right, moving on to the last category here, I've got Monster High. So I did decide to do a like #1 spot, and I'm gonna do the same thing for this video as well, like the #1 spot for my #1 Grail doll of this video, and that'll be the last one that I mention. But let me just go through the ones that I have for Monster High. So I'm gonna actually go from the bottom of this list to the top because the top is my #1. So first of all, I wanna get Gilda Goldstag. Gilda Goldstag is one of those characters, like random, like I don't even know how much we saw her in the cartoon. She was part of a like 5-pack or 6-pack or whatever, where like we had like, I think Slow-Mo was in it, and like I don't remember who all was in that pack, but she was one of it, and that was the only way you could have got her, is if you got that 5-pack or that 6-pack or however many dolls it was. So naturally, she's actually kind of hard to find, and it's the only doll we ever got for her. She never got like a different outfit or anything, and I really like to collect the Monster High dolls that are like one-offs, or just like we only got one doll for that character. Those are the ones I enjoy collecting more, so I definitely want her. Next up is the Monster High Freak du Chic dolls. Now, I only own 3 Freak du Chic dolls. I have, of course, Guliope. That was like the first one I got from that line, and I love her because I love the tall Monster High dolls. I also have the Claudine, who's like the lion tamer version, and I also have Twyla, who is like walking on stilts, and these dolls are exquisite. I think Freak du Chic is one of the best Monster High lines because it's so detailed. They look amazing. So because of that, I want to get the rest of them. The Frankie is amazing. The Torlai is my favorite Torlai that exists. They also had a Rochelle that was part of a play set. I don't want the play set, but I do want the Rochelle. I don't know, and I think there's a few that I'm forgetting, but I really want I would love to collect the whole Freak du Chic line. I just think that it's gorgeous, and those dolls were very well made. So I would love to have the rest of those. The next one that I really want, and definitely is considered a Grail doll for me, is Abby Abominable's signature doll. I love winter-themed dolls, and that's like her shtick. But I think that her signature doll is one of her most beautiful dolls ever, and she's really sought after. Like, people really like that doll. So she's expensive, at least if you find her complete and in a good condition. So that's the only reason I don't own her, but I really want this doll. On that note, I also want the signature Scara Screams doll. I actually don't own any Scara dolls, and I would love to own really any of them because I think she has a really beautiful like mod 60s kind of vibe to her style, but I think her signature doll is my favorite. The thing is, I think she was she from a special release or like San Diego Comic-Con maybe? I don't remember if she was, but I think that her signature doll was, but that's the one I want the most just because I really like that style. Also, a San Diego Comic-Con doll that I really want is Iris Klops in her signature outfit. When Iris came out, she was part of a 2-pack with Manitor, and that was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. So that's where that one was released. So naturally I don't own her. She's a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, so she's really expensive now. So I don't know if I'll ever own her, but I would love to own that one. I do have the I Heart Fashion Iris Clops, and I do like that doll a lot, but I really, really love her signature doll, and I want that one. All right, so we're at the last two dolls on my list, and these are definitely the top of my list, and these would probably be in my top 5 Grail dolls. So I would lump these together with the dolls that I mentioned at the end of my last video. But specifically, I really want to get C.A. Cupid from Monster High. I own every C.A. Cupid doll that exists from Ever After High, because if you didn't know, C.A. Cupid started in Monster High and then transferred over to Ever After High, and her design changed. I love her. She is like one of my favorite dolls to collect. I really just like her overall aesthetic. But she started at Monster High, and I never got a C.A. Cupid Monster High doll, and her look is very, very different, but I would love to have her. Now, I know that there are 2 versions, maybe 3, where they like released her for the Sweet 1600 line, like that's when she was released. But then I think they also like did a reproduction of her later that was like, there were certain details that were missing, like as they normally, Mattel would do that with these dolls. Like when they re-release it, there's like less effort put in, so they're not as nice. I would love to own an original, like Sweet 1600 C.A. Cupid, but honestly, if it's in like a new condition or whatever and like fully done up and not missing any, like a complete doll, I don't care if it's the re-release or the original. I would prefer the original, but I'd be happy with the re-release. But she is one of the dolls that are really sought after and hard to find and really expensive when you do find her. So I don't know. I'm gonna keep trying because I really want that doll. But yeah, we'll see. All right, so we are to my number 1 for this list, for this video. And this doll, brings up a lot of emotions for me, like a lot of like anger and like other stuff and whatever. I feel very passionate about this doll because the reason that I didn't get her was because of the Mattel Creations website, the glitches and the issues, and anyway, my most wanted Grail doll that I'm listing in this video is the San Diego Comic-Con Voltageous Frankie Stein. I'm sure this is like a recent doll, and I'm sure that a lot of you understand why I said that this brings up a lot of emotions. Because first of all, this doll is stunning. I love the way this doll is designed, and I wanted her so bad. I made sure that I had the money in my account and that I had the website pulled up and that like I was logged in and I was able to like check out and stuff like that. I wanted to buy this doll and I tried to buy this doll. I was not allowed to, or I was not able to because of the issues that the Mattel Creations website had. And I don't want to get like too angry and ranty because I already did that in another video, but needless to say, I was upset. Also, I kind of was like in a mindset of I refuse to pay scalper prices because of the BS that happened with that website and how many scalpers got this doll. And like the day before, like it wasn't even released yet, and there were already listings on eBay from scalpers that had the doll listed at like 2 or 3 times the retail price. So yeah, I was upset. I was like, I did my due diligence, and like I was denied being able to buy this doll as a true fan, where many scalpers who don't care about the doll, they just wanted to buy it so they can make profit, were able to buy it. Anyway, like I said, that's a rant for a whole separate video. I don't want to get into it. I wasn't able to get this doll, and I was like so morally against paying scalper prices that I refused to do it. I did end up going to the fabric store and buying some fabric, and I bought like a Skull Shores Frankie that was a grayscale version off eBay, and I was planning on making a custom Voltageous Frankie, but I couldn't find fabric I was happy with, and I was just so disgusted with the whole process that I never really got around to doing that. I may still do that. I may still make that custom doll because I have some fabrics and some stuff, and I might make it work somehow. But I checked on eBay, and I don't think that doll is selling very well because all the prices dropped. I might regret saying this because now people are going to see them and be like, oh, they went down, so they're going to go buy them, and then the price, you know, supply and demand. The more dolls that sell, the more they are able to charge for them, because it's like, oh, there's a higher demand for it, whatever. So don't go buy the doll, because I want to buy it. No, if I can get the doll at a reasonable price and pay no more than I would have paid if I bought the doll and then maybe paid for expedited shipping or something, then I'll justify it and I might buy it secondhand. But I don't know if I will own this doll or buy it myself, purely because of what happened. So I have very mixed feelings and a lot of different emotions around this doll, but I still really want her because she is so pretty and I love the way she's designed. I think the designers did an amazing job and I really, really, really want this doll. We'll see. Anyway, that is gonna be it for this video. I'm actually starting to get really cold and I'm starting to think that it wasn't the best idea to sit outside and film this video, but whatever, we made it through. Let me know what you think of the dolls that I mentioned in this video. Were any of the ones that I had on my list also on your list? Let me know in the comments down below. But that being said, I'm gonna head inside and I'm probably gonna make a cup of hot cocoa because that sounds really good right now. But thanks so much for watching. I definitely appreciate all of you and I hope I see you in the next video. Bye! If you like this video, you can let me know by hitting thumbs up. You can check out some of my other videos by clicking one of the links on the screen. I post new videos every week, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified every time I upload. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next video.